Right, let's go, because you know what I came here to do.
I don't get paid for overtime. I'm here to fight.
You might come across a bit biased because Jamie is from Tottenham. I've never met him, you know what I mean? But he's a Tottenham youth. That's what I found out. Jamie TKV. Now, on the undercard of Joshua versus White, which is a big show, like I was saying the other day, people want to get on these undercard slots because it's going to be your highest person and the profile is priceless. So, Johnny Fisher, 9-0, 8 inside the distance, is going to challenge for his first title, and that's the Southern Area title. For some reason, the Southern Area title has been laying dormant for 5 years or so. I think Daniel Dubois had it last. And I don't know, what, you can't find two people from London and the Southern area of England to fight for the strap. Why is it laying dormant so long? What's up with the board? But anyway, Johnny will take on Harry Armstrong, 5-3-1, no stoppages. Now, I mean, I'm not really going to get into Harry's personal business, but he lives in Devon. He was born in Camden, in North London, but he lives in Devon. You know what I mean? But anyway, a minor technicality, really. You know what I mean? He's eligible to fight for it on the strength of his birthright. But Jamie is 5-0 with 3 stoppages, and Harry's last fight is a loss to Jamie. I saw the fight on Sky. I saw it. It was a good fight, actually, and Jamie deservedly won on points. And Jamie's had another win after beating Harry. Harry's last fight is the loss to Jamie. And Jamie, why aren't you talking up? Why are you silent, brother? Huh? You don't want that fight? Jamie must want that fight. High profile fight. Surely it would be one of his biggest purses, if not the biggest. And, you know, the board. Eddie, what's going on? Why have you gave a man who's been beaten the shot above the man who beat him? What is it? Tottenham man can't fight for the Southern Area title? Why is Harry getting the shot above Jamie? What is this, protection racket, Eddie? Give Jamie the shot. Who's Jamie's manager? Who promotes him? Phone up the board. Phone up Eddie. The best contenders are supposed to fight for the strap. That's the whole point of it, isn't it? The belt's been lying around for 5 years. You have to get the best qualified challengers to contest the title. Surely. You can't get the man who's been beaten fighting for the title before the man who beat him, and that man is still unbeaten. Johnny's old man reckons they could have sold 5,000 tickets. Yeah. All I can say is, Jamie TKV, you have to be assertive in this game. It's a short career. And demand first shot at the winner. Get in touch with the board. Let them know you want first shot at the winner. People, you know, like, you stand up for yourself in this world and people are like, oh, well, you shouldn't bother standing up for yourself. Just let everyone take everything from you. Don't be a troublemaker. Nah, stand up for yourself. And we've got Filipe Govic versus Dempsey McKean. Dempsey is 22-0, 14 inside the distance. He's 32 years of age. He's 6'6". Filipe Govic, same height. He's 31, a year younger. 15-0 and 12 inside the distance. What jumps out of this fight here is the inactivity. Dempsey's fighting twice a year, once in 2020, against limited opposition. Why is that exactly? I've seen some of his recent opponents, and there's no reason you can't fight 4 or 5 of them a year. There's no reason. No explanation will satisfy me. And then you got Filipe Govic. Did he hit the wall against Zhang? One fight in a year and a half, in over a year and a half. Why? Because you're waiting for a world title shot. How are you going to win that world title shot when you're going to be as rusty as anything? He didn't look that good in his last fight. So that's a little alarming. Dempsey is a southpaw. His best win, I believe, is the Jonathan Rice win. He TKO'd Rice in 10. So HRGOVIC, number 1 ranked for USEX IBF title. Number 9 with the WBO. Number 8 with the WBA. And he gets no love at all with the WBC. Dempsey McKean, from what the sanctioning bodies are saying here, as far as a top 10 contender is that they've never heard of him. He's got a number 12 ranking with the WBO, a number 13 with the IBF. So he needs this HRGOVIC fight and a win to close the gap. And look, neither man is a spring chicken. They need to get a move on. HRGOVIC sitting on his mandatory slot like that doesn't make sense to me. He had to wait an awful long time for that eliminator, didn't he? And Zhang came through and arguably beat HRGOVIC. HRGOVIC became a fake boogeyman. That don't mean he's a bad fighter, but he became a fake boogeyman in a lot of boxers' eyes because nobody would take the eliminator. That's because they were looking at easier fights for similar money. And HRGOVIC complained, oh, I can't get nobody to fight me. Then he gets the eliminator and then sits out for a year and a half. So you're complaining about you couldn't get a fight, and then when you do get a fight, you just sit down. And from what I saw in the Zhang fight, I didn't see an improving fighter. But that's a very good fight for the undercard. I want to pick HRGOVIC, but he didn't look good against Zhang. But we know Zhang is a lot better than what a lot of people thought. You can look at resumes and reputations to try and assess a fight. But this inactivity is such a big factor when weighing up win or lose in modern day boxing. I think it's a very underestimated factor in weighing up a matchup. HRGOVIC, however, was a bronze medalist, wasn't he? 2016, behind Yoka and Joyce. Fought in the WSB, was co-signed and trained by Vitaly Klitschko for a little while. I think he's regressed a little as a pro from the early potential people saw in him as an amateur and a WSB fighter. Dempsey McKean, I don't know if he took up boxing late. It doesn't look natural, if I'm totally honest. Like, he looks like a guy who was good at various other sports and took up boxing. You'd have to go with HRGOVIC to probably be a little too strong on the inside and maybe have a little too much boxing savvy for him. In saying that, the Chinaman mugged him in the pocket, and that's not racist, alright? Yeah, the Chinaman mugged him in the pocket. Obviously, HRGOVIC has got a lot more to lose, and McKean has it all to gain. ITV Box Office 2017. Chris Eubank versus Reynold Quinlan. I remember going up West London. I can't remember where it was exactly, but it was in a shopping mall. I went to see the weigh-in. I could have watched it live. I actually had tickets, but you know, I wanted to watch it on television. Plus it was my birthday as well, and it wouldn't have went down well with the other half, would it? So Lennox Lewis and Andre Ward were there doing media, and I remember in the build-up for that fight, you know what I mean, the card wasn't finalized, and I said they need to put a heavyweight on the card, a heavyweight fight, and they did. David Price versus Christian Hammer, and it brought the place down. Like, there was a stage when Frank Warren didn't have no heavyweights in the stable, and nearly every time I posted up I said, why did Frank get some heavyweights? Why didn't he get no heavyweights? You know what I mean? And then signed up Fury, Daniel, Joyce, ADELEYE, because people like seeing the big punches and the big crash landings when they get knocked down. And that looks like what Eddie's going for this O2 Arena that's headlined by AJ and Dillian. They've got Dempsey McKean and Philippe HRGOVIC. Obviously they got Johnny Fisher versus Harry Armstrong. So that's 3 heavyweight clashes. And Derek Chisora is in the process of getting an opponent finalized. 4 heavyweight clashes on that card. That's clever promotional strategizing by MATCHROOM. Okay, let's say Tyson Fury has an edge over AJ in current form that make him the top heavyweight. But would anyone disagree that Eddie Hearn puts on the better heavyweight shows?
Do you wish that your paths with Derek James had crossed before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Rob's a really good coach. The only thing I say though is, look at FROCH'S nose. That's what it is. He just didn't teach me defense.
Shots fired, shots fired, shots fired. And deservedly so. Look at Carl FROCH'S nose. Getting beak bent up. Forget plastic surgery. Yeah, so he's basically saying that Rob Mccracken wasn't teaching defense. Rob is also spreading himself thin between Team GB and training the pros. You know, he said he wouldn't have survived if he had stayed with Rob. Just taking too much punches. And he wasn't always available, like when he was scheduled to fight Tyson Fury in 2021, when Fury pulled out due to the mediation arbitration situation with Wilder. Rob was away with the Olympic team, wasn't he? And if the fight did go down, he wouldn't have been available. So he was spreading himself thin between Team GB and training with the pros. And as you heard there, if he wished he had crossed paths earlier with Derek James, he says yes. And he's very impressed with Derek James as a coach, his philosophy, and how he goes about his work. So there you go, people. There you go. So Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou will be registered as an official boxing bout, not an exhibition. The result will stand as an official win, loss, or draw on both of their professional boxing records. I have to assume the bout will be sanctioned by the British Boxing Board of Control, and then I'll have to assume that UCAD testing will have to be at hand. They're earning way too much money for there not to be no UCAD testing. If it was an exhibition, then you can get by them things, can't you? So my challenge was to make some positive content about Fury and Ngannou. So Ngannou had a stand-up UFC style, and I saw a couple of his knockouts, and the people who were trying to defend the big punch, the punch he threw, the right hand, all I can say is boxing is a different muscle from UFC, you know. Ngannou could definitely intimidate some pro heavyweights, but it'd be the lower tier pro heavyweights. But the more accomplished journeymen, fringe contenders and contenders, then it's a different ball game. It's a different ball game. So I can't really find any positives about the fight aesthetic to preview. But I guess if it's a successful event, well, Fury would be under more pressure to take on Usyk, and the fight would be even bigger, although Fury's demands might get even more ridiculous, which we'd have to keep reminding him he just beat Francis Ngannou. Yeah. And there's only so much A-side I need so much of the boxing fans are going to take, and media. Positive, it could be a bigger event if he fights Dubois, maybe. Maybe Dubois turns over Usyk, the winner out of Dubois and Usyk. It could be a bigger event. Positives, hopefully they put on a good undercard. I mean, if you're getting all that money that Frank is saying they're going to earn over there, you should put on a good undercard. You should be obligated to do that, since you're not giving us the undisputed fight and you're getting the bag. More positives, we're seeing the ever expanding market in the Middle East, and a lot of people, oh, the Middle East are this and that. No one's heard that from my mouth, and you won't hear that from me with this event here. It's not their problem there's disgruntled boxing fans. They're putting on the event because entertainment is in demand over there for sports, whether it's football, boxing, MMA, wrestling. That's what they do over there. If Frank can get some good boxers to showcase their stuff on the undercard, at least some boxers will be getting a good opportunity. But I'm talking about an orthodox boxing match, a world title perhaps. Eddie wants to put Anthony Yard in with Bivol. Yo, Frank, why don't you do a joint venture with Eddie or do something and put that on the undercard? You got the bag. Or, you know, if you're not going to stretch to that, give us that British title fight between Hamza Sheeraz and Bentley that's been ordered by the board and agreed to by both parties. It's in-house. Like someone said, I'm a Frank Warren hater. And I think to myself, how can I know so much about the promoter? Since I was a boy, I'm talking a boy, not a man. Since I was a boy, been watching his cards, have studied so much about him, and hate Frank Warren. I like Frank Warren. He's a geezer. But, you know, look, it comes to a point where the negativity with the response to this fight is going to become toxic. So I'm going to buy the pay-per-view. And obviously I'm going to go live. And hopefully I'll get enough donations that they'll pay for it. But I'm going to buy the pay-per-view and watch it. And I'm going to give Frank the benefit of the doubt that he can put on a good show. Now, we all know the main event is not what we want to see, right? We want Fury fighting Usyk. But if they can put on a good show, then boxing can move on from there. And the Middle East, you know, it's what you call change. Whether you like it or not, a lot more athletes are going to go over there, elite athletes and elite boxers, and they are the foreseeable future of the Middle East. Saudi Arabia, it is what it is. So let's try and make the best of it and get a good deal out of it. I'm not telling everyone to stop critiquing Tyson Fury. I'm not saying that, but let's try and make the best out of the event and get what we can, extract something from it. You owe us, Frank. You owe us. You owe us, Tyson. You owe us. Because you've been making British boxing look a little bad in recent times. So you owe us. Let's see what you do with this. You got to do something really good. You got to springboard British boxing from off this. Frank is the promoter of the WBC heavyweight champion, and you got to do right by the fans. You want positive? That's the best I can do. You know, it's like politics, especially at local level. You know, you can demand people from the candidates who are knocking your door. Yo, you better provide this and this. We want to see this happen. And, you know, we should say, okay, Frank, we'll give you this one, right? But any more fucking around and Tyson don't go for the undisputed fight and you're still trying to do damage control for him or justifying why it's not happening, you're done out here. You're done. Boycotts. Active BT Queensbury boycotts. Campaigns online to unsubscribe, not patronize none of your shit that you're trying to sell. You're done out here. You want positive? That's positive as far as I'm concerned. You know, I put it to Twitter. What positives can I take from Fury and Ngannou? And the consensus was, oh, Ngannou's getting a better purse than he ever would on UFC. This is a great deal for him. And aside from that, I couldn't really hear no one coming back with anything positive. So it's all right saying, yeah, you should try and find something positive to say about it. It hasn't got a very positive response, and I'm not the only one who's not thrilled to bits. And I haven't really tore it apart. What I've been tearing apart is Frank Warren and his lies about trying to make the fight with Usyk, trying to justify fighting Ngannou before Usyk. That's what I've been really tearing apart more than the event. And aside from Ade, I've been tearing apart Talk Sport for basically putting Frank in witness protection against horrific decisions between him and Fury. And it looks like Bob Arum just doesn't even want to be associated with anything. I haven't heard Bob say anything about this event. When's the last time Bob Arum spoke about Tyson Fury? Or Top Rank for that matter? Are they pleased this is happening? So, British Boxing Board of Control have ordered David ADELEYE, Fabio Wardley to face off in the ring for Fabio Wardley's coveted British heavyweight title. Now, hopefully, the fight will be negotiated before a purse bid. You know what I mean? Like, they've got till August the 9th to avoid the purse bid, and the fight must take place by the end of December 2023. Mark Heffron, he also has the same timetable at super middleweight to defend against Jack Cullen, who's lost 2 out of his last 3. Don't really see the sense in that. Maybe the gene pool is a little thin at domestic level at 168. And they've also ordered Denzel Bentley versus Hamza SHEERAZ. Bentley 18-2-1, British champion. Hamza SHEERAZ 17-0, 13 inside the distance, the undefeated prospect / contender. That's an all BT TNT Sports Showdown, so it'll be easy to make, and they've already agreed terms. It's just a matter of finalizing all the minor points and getting it done. That's a hot ticket, you know what I mean? And like, it's going to be difficult for Hamza SHEERAZ to overcome Bentley's experience, you know what I mean? What is he, twice British champion now? He's fought the likes of Felix Cash, took a L. He lost to Johnny Beck, Alan Kunalai, and put up a way better fight than was predicted. And he's had very good form since that Felix Cash loss. A lot of people are talking about ADELEYE and Wardley, but this is a hot fight, and Frank needs to make sure it happens. That's a really good fight. Boy, it looks like the wannabe thug circuit out across the pond, innit? Like, Gervonta Davis just came out of jail, or it may have been prison, and Devin Haney got bagged up for packing the old toolie, didn't he? Like, bloody hell, man. It's that type of country, innit? Like, everyone's packing, so you feel pressured to pack yourself, and you don't want to get jacked or caught slipping. It is what it is. Ain't supposed to have bodyguards for all that, though, if you ain't in that kind of money.